Today we are going to talk about my thoughts on the Toyota RAV4 Prime after using it since August in 2023. First thing that I want to talk about is a little bit, jumping into the customization that I have done on the car. One of the biggest things that is probably the least noticeable is that I actually raised it up 5 centimeters with a kit from a brand that's called Torque USA. One of the fun things about racing the car like this was that we went to Norway and it was flooded like everywhere. The entire road was gone. We literally drove like this much water. So being able to have the extra ground clearance when we were driving was definitely something that we needed to have. I can highly recommend the lift kit if you're looking into buying it. I think it's 2.5 inch in American numbers, 5 centimeters, that's what I hear in Sweden. Huh? And then of course we got the tires, which is knock-in all-terrain tires. To be completely honest, for what I do, I don't need these, but it looks so freaking badass, especially on the rims from Black Rhino. I have really enjoyed having this on my car because it gives you this brutal look and a little bit unique feeling, I guess you can say, because there's not a lot of Toyota RAV4s here in Sweden with this kind of setup. Then again, when you have tires like that and the lift, the fuel economy goes way down. I think you get around 0.8 liters per 10 kilometers. I mean, my other car, which is a Seat Leon, I think you can get like 0.4 liters per 10 kilometers. It actually brings us to one of the first downsides with having a big car like this that is a plug-in hybrid. The gasoline tank is like 40 liters. That's less than what I have on my other car. Click. Today, for example, this morning, it says 71 kilometers, right, on the battery. But with these tires and the lift kit and the front, what do you call it, like front bumper, I think you say, most of the time get like 50 kilometers. So I wouldn't say that is that accurate. If you look to the numbers, you won't get that far with just a 4-liter tank, and you need to fill it up quite often. I'm gonna say that I'm filling it up once a week and sometimes even a little bit more. In that sense, I wish that this car had like a 65, 80-liter tank. That would be so good. Another downside with the tires in specific is that when you are driving, for example, on gravel roads or on the highway, especially when you get up to those higher speeds at like 110, 120 kilometers, it gets loud, like really loud inside the car. And that is something that is noticeable because you need to crank up the volume on the stereo like a lot. Everything comes with a little bit of a trade-off, but if you enjoy the look of the car, I personally do think that is worth the extra noise, if that makes sense. Something that I do like interior with this car is the look. I think it looks so freaking nice to be able to have these red seams on the seats and the red seams here on the, what do you call it, shift stick, gear shift manual, and then having the red seams here. Also, being able to have the black panoramic cover is a freaking nice thing because it gives the interior this dark feeling and absolutely makes it feel like a little bit of a sports car. But it looks good, but it feels incredibly plastic at places. I mean, like, see this? I could jank it out if I tried. Definitely think that Toyota could do some improvements here and there with the different things that they got going on. But one of the benefits of having this kind of plastic though is that I think it's very easy to replace because there's a big aftermarket for all these parts. We got the touchscreen here, which is actually something that I'm very impressed of. It is very responsive, and as you probably know, the Apple CarPlay is one of the best things ever to happen with cars. No need to think about any sort of GPS. You just load up Google Maps, you press your favorite spot, and then it goes there. Spotify, we're gonna go into that. Super responsive, loads up quickly. We can scroll our favorite stuff, and it just works so smoothly. And I do think it feels like, I don't know, maybe you can say like a 5-year-old iPad. So the first couple of months when I had the car, one of the things that I noticed was that the My Toyota app was working on and off. But the fun thing is that Toyota updated the app to the My Toyota app. Previously it was called the My T. Something that you could do in the previous app was that you could export your trips as a PDF file so that you could have that as a driving journal. But that is something that they removed in the new version of the app. And I think that removing a good feature and not providing a solution for it is a very bad thing. And when they updated the app, I'm gonna say that this was somewhere in December last year, it was so much on and off. And every single time I booted up the car, you had to press like, I agree on this. And it took such a long time to actually get things working as it should again. But now, for the last 3 months, I'm gonna say that it's been working fine. There is still some connectivity issues time and time again, depending on if you have your phone closed or if you don't have your phone closed, if you're logged into the app. I don't know what I think about that, because you should only have to sign in one time and that should be it. We have a entirely digital interface right here, and I think it's called speedometer in English. Speedometer. I was very skeptical about this to begin with, because I never had a car with all digital to begin with. So when I first started to drive the car, I felt like, well, I'm not, like, this is not my jam. But then now, when I've been driving the car for a little bit more than 8 months, I feel like this is very nice. I can have all the different things that I think is the most important right on the display. Not only do we have this digital interface, we also have a heads-up display in the window. Being able to have both of those when you're driving makes driving very relaxed. And I'm really happy that both of these work as good as they are, because it's my first sort of like experience with it. I would not probably go back to the regular good old speedometer now that I've been using this. What I do think is that it would be nice to have a little bit more customization into this. Maybe if you could, like, choose the colors that you want and a little bit more speedometers. Maybe you could download, your own look to it and then just load that in. That'd be sick. I would love to have the Prime logo. This right here is probably one of my absolute favorite things with the car, the digital rear view mirror. Check this out. Like, we have a regular mirror, right? If I do like this, whoop, then it turns on again. I'd say the first couple of weeks when I was driving with this, it felt very strange, because you're so used to looking far when you're looking in the mirror, and now you're just looking at the display. I can absolutely see one of the downsides of it being digital, that you need somehow in the future to switch out the camera or something like that. But this works incredibly well, because if you have a full load in the trunk of your car, then you can still look at the road behind you. When someone is sitting in the back, or 3 people sitting in the back, you don't have to worry about this, someone being in the way for that. It is just so freaking nice to be able to have the camera here instead of the regular classic rear view mirror. I'm not entirely sure if I would have loved to have it on the side mirrors, but having this, I love it. The headlights that I purchased for the car is from RAV4, and they are freaking badass. Not only do they look incredibly good, especially when you put on the turn signal. See that? It's like on top here, and it gives this clean look when you have the turn signal and the LED glowing at the same time. I love it. And I think I paid $1,200 for them when you purchase the pair. This is for the high trim version. There is a little bit of, finicky setup before you get them to work, but the support on RAV4 was great, and it definitely helped us to make sure that we got them installed properly. But when you're driving in the dark, they are freaking powerhouse of a beam. Shines up everywhere, and it's such a crisp, nice looking light. And now my fiance, she told me, like, I don't drive the other car at night because this feels like you're driving in daylight. That's a good verdict. These lights, they look good, freaking amazing. I think it gives it this raw, epic, unique look, but they're not legal. Here in Sweden, you're not allowed to drive with any sort of lights in the front of your car except for the head beams. When it comes to the leg room of the car, I'm gonna say that it's more than enough, very sufficient. I mean, I'm a big dude, so I lean back whenever I'm sitting to drive. So like hanging like this, looking cool. I get enough space for my legs to fit in. I can sit like this. And also when I jump back, there is enough leg room. There's not as much leg room as there would be if someone smaller would be driving, but there's no issues for me to sit here and just enjoy the ride. And you also have the possibility to adjust the seat at 2 different levels. So for example, if you want to sit more straight, you can have it a little bit up and then you can flip it down to lean back a bit. That is something that I really like, especially when elderly people are in the car, because then you can make sure they have a little bit more comfortable setup for them to sit like this so that they don't fall asleep. Trust me, it's happened. When it comes to the handling of the car, I do think it performs really good when you're driving on gravel roads, when you're driving a little bit off-road, when you're testing it out. I gotta be honest, I'm not your driver that is going to take it on for a spin through the muddiest of terrains. I just like the look of having an off-road car. If I could choose, I would probably buy a Toyota Tundra. That'd be sick. It has a really good handling, and you have all these safety features that you can expect. I was testing them out when there was a lot of snow, turning everything off and see what kind of difference that it did. And it does help you a whole lot, being able to have all those things. So if you want to see all the modifications that I've done to my RAV4, I'm going to drop a link to the video right here or here or here or here. I don't know where in the... I'm going to drop it in the description. It's going to be easier for you. But all in all, I'm going to say that I'm satisfied with it, but the biggest issue for me is no doubt the gas tank. It should be way bigger on a car like this. Next time, I'm probably going to buy something with a bigger gas tank. Or fully electric. Who knows? Hej då! Kommer du eller?